here. Yay. So before we get started and as people come in, I thought, you know, I love the functional art stuff. So welcome Sherry, my sis. So yeah, that's why we do treasure boxes. That's why I do treasure boxes, because it's functional art. This is as far as we got. Well, this is a little farther than we got during the class. So I've been working on it all week, all weekend. I had 3 days off, so that was nice. And then I went ahead on the side and used the unicorn spit to make a faux wood grain, because even though this was a box with, you know, made of wood, it was just so straight lines. So I wanted a little bit more woodness. That's a word. Speaking of words, before we get started, remember when I said about this gouache, gooshy? We couldn't remember how to say it. It's gouache, people, like squash, but with a G, gouache. So I have to do that other treasure box with gouache, so you see what I'm talking about. It's a very cool medium. Feels like acrylics, but you can lay it over the colors each other, and it just gives it more depth, like a watercolor. It'll give it shading and stuff that you don't get with acrylics unless you're mixing it, you know, yourself. So there's that. Yay! Okay, so before we get started, I want to show you a couple of things that I think are interesting. So one of the things I've got my little treasure box here on a turntable, and that's what I want to talk to you about. You can buy these turntables for like $12, and then you can art them any way you want. And this one is huge. I just did a pour on it, but I think it's really a cool look. So, and I put glass over this. So there's that. But you can resin over it, you know, you can do that. Okay, so the next one is this style of box. And I really like this style, except, it's hard to see, sorry guys, it's supposed to be a fairy looking thing. Except it's very hard to resin, so either use your liquid glass or something like that. But what I did was I made this reversible. See how that drawer is in the waterfall? Let's see if I can get it out. And yeah, it's hideously bright inside. Well, then I decided that I would do the back side as well and make sure that it fit the waterfall again, but on this side. You know what I'm saying? So you can use this box that way or the fairy garden way, either way you want, and it still works. You know that's fun. You know that's cool. I love it. So yeah, there's that. And this one I did the same. Thank you. Yeah, so I love the big seagull. That's my favorite part about this one. And inside it's very messy, hard to read, but what it says is, if you're lucky enough to be different, never change. So that's to everybody today. And then of course you can flip that drawer around again, and on the back side, if you can get it in, it's just a very basic ocean scene. Not much happening. But they're so fun to do like this. So those boxes are cool. If you can find them, and they're called a drawer box. And this one is different. It's not reversible, but it looks like a book, like if you were putting it in the shelf. And so I put some sand and stuff down there at the beach where she was. And then the lid just kind of pops open. Like that. Yeah, it's bright. So those are just some other treasure boxes that you can find to paint on, and have a bunch of different styles and sizes of boxes. These little tiny ones, they are really hard to work with Thank you. I have a floral wreath on my head. Thank you, Randall. Welcome. So they are hard to work with, little tiny everythings, but they're pretty for these geodes. So, you know, and you can get a whole like 12 of them or whatever in a set, these little wooden treasure boxes. Thank you so much. So anyway, that's the inside, guys. I'm sorry, got excited about the flowers. Anyway, so they are hard to work with, but they're nice and easy to resin, and you don't use a lot of resin product, which is the expensive part, that and your time, when you're doing the small ones. So thank you so much. But this is my favorite size, this and the cigar boxes, because it gives you enough room to really paint, you know, but it doesn't take forever to get it finished. Plenty of room on the inside and plenty of room in the bottom to add lots of resin or flowers or rocks or whatever it is that you decide to do. So, and these are easier because, you know, once the hardware is taken off, then the top is easier to resin than some of the other ones if you are into resin. So anyway, that's show and tell for today. But it was fun. I love the boxes that you can do the reversible, because there's always a favorite side, no matter what, you know, so maybe they'll have a favorite side too. We'll see. So thank you so much. Hey. All right. So today we did this front of the box with acrylic. And then I went ahead the side, did the unicorn spit, and then I sprayed it, because you have to spray your unicorn spit, or spray a mist over it and then resin it. So, because if you touch it to water again, or water to the unicorn spit, it will reactivate. Thank you. And it matches. Thanks, Randall. So this is what I use. I use the Minwax polyurethane spray gloss, basically. And I sprayed all over it. But then I came back and I was missing some shadows that I wanted to add in, and that's okay because this is acrylic. So I just went ahead and painted a little bit more acrylic over it, and that's going to be fine because I'm going to resin the top of this box. All right, so today we're just going to add some highlights in the water. I just want it a little bit more sparkly because the shadows brought a real dark feeling to it, and I kind of want some dark but not all together dark. So I'm just going to do a little bit of that. I've got some regular paints in tubes, some of my favorites, that, and I'm also going to introduce the sparkly iridescent ones from Magic Fly, because this is a perfect time to add just a touch. Don't do what I do. Don't get carried away with your iridescence, because pretty soon once you get it under resin, it'll just be like this glow of color. So just do some here and there to add that sparkly touch that you might want. And you don't have to. You know, you do you. And then I've got just the regular folk art as well. And then Sherry, you might recognize this. Hey Shannon, welcome. Love you, love you. Got my sis, got my daughter. Anyway, this is hideous. Yes, it is. But it's resin. I made that. And I hate it. It's supposed to be like a tray with some coasters, but it's gross. Anyway, so it's my palette today, and eventually this is going to go into a sculpture that's going to be huge, just made of resin trash that my sister and I are collecting from all of our resin crafting and stuff. So it's not going to be just a pile of trash. I have a plan, and that is like do a seahorse with some seaweed or something, but use all these pieces. Like I've got domino pieces and everything. So anyway, that's a project for whenever, but just thought I'd talk about it. Oh, thanks, Shannon. Yes, it is an awesome palette. Thanks, this rocks. Alright, so I just want some of the shimmer of the yellow. Remember, when you're using the iridescence, it can be tricky. They can morph into weird colors, so it's almost better just to not mix them on your canvas or box or whatever it is you're doing, but mix them on your palette. Make sure that it doesn't go weird on you, because I have had that happen and it's interesting to say the least. If I missed you guys' comments, and can I make a Plymouth? Oh wow, whatever that was. Look at the whale. How cool is that? Thank you. 1957 Plymouth Fury. No, I can't. No, I've done like 2 vehicles in my life. One went to a grandson, and I can't remember the other. Not really good at the whole perspective in the cars or buildings or things like that. So that's why I go for nature, in case you're interested, because nature is forgiving. Everything's a mess in there. It's not like straight lines or anything. So if you're like me, go for the landscapes, seascapes, things like that, and start off in those areas. But it depends on what your heart is, because if you really want to paint something, you can do it. So, you know, if cars or things like that is you, go for it. And I'd be interested to see how it turns out. So I've just got some regular orange and a little bit of that sparkly yellow from Magic Fly. It's very thin. I think it's Magic Fly. Yeah. It's very thin paint. So it'll be perfect for just dabbing around. So I want to do just a couple highlights here and there. And by doing that, these few right here is what I just did. It kind of will push that tree, and that I'm putting those in front of, it'll push that tree trunk back, and that's what I want, just a little bit farther back in some areas. But what I'm trying to do is I have put some shadows in, and so it really made it dark in some of those areas, and I just want to lighten it up a little bit. And then I want to put a little bit more happiness, sunshine in my river. It's really not a river. I was trying to explain. I didn't really want it blue, and it did end up a little blue. Okay, so there's a few more leaves in the front at the bottom. See what I'm talking about? Kind of sets it apart a little bit. But it did turn out blue, the water, so whatever. I need some white. Thank you, Shannon. Shannon's my daughter. Sherry's my sis. Randall's the bestie. And actually, this palette works really good, I have to say. I mean, you have lots of room. Even Randall, who does oil paintings, can use that. All right, so I have my white, and I don't want to just put white on my river because it's muddy looking and all that. So I want to add just a little bit of a blue to it. A cobalt blue is what I put in my shadows. So I thought I would add a little bit of that to the white as well. And then once I mix a shade that I like, that is a highlight but not white, then I can go back and touch just the sparkly whites on top of that. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping it works. I'm not sure. So we'll see. I need some dark brown. So on the inside of this treasure box, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Okay, so I ended up mixing the cobalt blue with a little white and some raw umber. And I kind of like the muddy blue look, so I add a little bit more white to it and just see what happens. I'm just going to touch it here and see what color I've got. Okay, well, it's blue. So I'm going to add a little more white. There we go. The problem with the blue is if you add a little yellow, then you're going to get green. But that's okay because it's a stream. You know, you're going to have lots of colors in a stream. Just some little sparklies here and there. And plus, you know, it might make it look like it's going over some little pebbles or rocks or something. Just drag it through with my finger. And it kind of brightened up that light spot next. Can you see it? I don't know. So that's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with the outside of this treasure box. So let's go ahead and start on the inside. This is going to get some resin over the next couple days, I hope. So let me set this aside and let it dry whatever I just put on there. And we're going to go for unicorn spit for this treasure box bottom. And just this regular brown. So because you have to seal the unicorn spit, what I'm going to do is, this is the same brown that I've put as this faux wood. Let's see. The sides looked like this. This is a regular treasure box that, just like the one I'm working on. So they were really straight lines. And I wanted it more woodsy. So I just drew that on with black, straight on the wood, black unicorn spit. And if you haven't used it before, it's not an acrylic, so it doesn't have the glue, the polymer in it. I know I sound like a recording if you hear me all the time. But, and it's water activated. And then you seal it with a spray seal. And then you can go ahead and resin over it once it's sprayed. I'm not going to resin the sides of the boxes. Okay. So I'm just going to use a brush and just go around the edges like that. And this is the boring part, you guys. You can come back and I'll still be doing this and just visiting. But it has to be done. Hey guys. All right, so most of you people in here probably are in here because Randall, you already follow him. But if you don't follow Randall, he is the Paintings by Randall. And he paints with oils, which is exciting. But you can use the same technique that he's using, even if you're not into oils. You can be in acrylics and still learn something. So check him out if you haven't already. And my sis, she's teaching balloon dips at her church, which I think is amazing. And the pictures I saw, they looked like they were having a blast. And she did just the beginning class last time. So this time she's going for the intermediate. And I think it's exciting. And when Shannon, my daughter, left the other day, she said something like, sorry if it's not exactly right, Shannon, but she said, "Thank you for sharing your gift." And I thought that was so sweet. But that's how I feel when I go to everybody's lives, y'all, the Art Tribe. If I haven't come to your live yet, send me a DM if you do lives, because I would love to come back and support you as well. Just as a thank you for supporting me on my lives, because they can be a little intimidating, petrifying, annoying, embarrassing, but they can also be fun. So I'm proud that you're doing lives. If you're doing them, let me know, and I will definitely come check you out. And Randall can vouch, I won't stay very long. I get called away a lot, but I will support you on your art journey. I need more spit. I need more spit. No balloons for Randall, apparently. Hey, Emma. almost done. So, voice cracked. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to paint on the inside of this lid. I don't know if I want to design, or scene, or if I just want to go straight to pouring in there. So I'm not sure. Let's see. The unicorn spit dries really fast, by the way, which is one of the plus signs for it. Not real fast. I just got my finger in it. And you can wash it off of yourself with just water if you get to it fast enough. It is messy. Aw, Bluebird, you don't have to. I'm happy to support you when I can. You're sweet. No, but I want to. I like going to other people's lives. I can learn something from everybody. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'm painting this again because it's too thin. On the wood boxes, I just do want to say that a lot of times like these, I leave them kind of messy. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be, especially like beach boxes. You know how they will paint something and then they'll take the sandpaper, a light sandpaper, and go over the top and make it look distressed. So any of the beach boxes that I've made, I'm not really worried about, making sure that every little thing is the same. I like it kind of looking distressed. This one has the same, like, look at the edges. It's like, it's just random, and then just make it look beachy by roughing it up a little bit. Oh, thank you for the heart. That was beautiful. I do too. I love that distressed look. Thank you. Yeah, so those are fun. Those treasure boxes are amazing. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and paint the inside of this, and we'll start designing what's going to be on the bottom. So for the inside, I'm going to go ahead and just paint it with acrylics. So I don't have to worry about spraying inside. I can just go ahead and resin the bottom. And I put this tab on to show me that that is the front of the box, so I don't get anything backwards. If I was going to make a design and I forgot which was my front, then I could actually make it contrary to what the lid is supposed to, and then I would have to drill all those holes again, and that would really suck, so I don't. Thank you, I saw the flowers. Thank you so much. So that's why I mark the front of the box. It's amazing how easy it is to get your orientation wrong and then have like the lid all pretty, and then you open it up and this bottom lid that you painted is upside down. So that's sad. That has happened a few times, so just know that. Not sure which brush I should use. And I'm going to put the fawn in with some dark. That. Just like that. Just throwing it in like that. And just blend it out. No rhyme or reason, just adding some paint. So Randall, do you have that painting that you showed me up on your, this last one, the one you said was your emerald? I guess it was one that you painted a long time ago. But man, that was gorgeous. Emerald Sea or whatever. Gorgeous. It would be fun just to make all sorts of seascapes and all sorts of weird random colors, I think. And the reason I'm painting it is because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know whether I want it to be resined or just a pour, acrylic pour. But I see there is a situation at the bottom of this treasure box that was built into it when they made it. Well, let me show you what it is. I just went over it, but I think you'll still be able to see. There's a line right there. See that line? It's actually raised. It looks like a tree. That's what usually happens. I was like, the problem is it's upside down. So somehow it's in this box and it's made a bump. So if I went to do an acrylic pour, you would think that it would cover that up, but it does not. It actually will follow that bump and you'll see it. There's no way around it. I have tried. So the solution, if you have something like that at the bottom of a box that's a bump and you don't want it, is resin, because it will level the top and it won't matter if there's bumps and all this stuff underneath. So I will probably end up doing a resin pour in this on Thursday. So if you're into resin or you haven't been but you're thinking about it, Thursday is the day for you, and I will mix up some resin. We will color the resin with different pigments, dry or liquid, it doesn't matter. And then we'll do a resin pour in there and pull a toothpick or one of those. I love these. You get them at the Dollar Tree or whatever, these barbecue skewers. They work really well to draw through your resin. And I just love doing a resin in color because it looks just like a pour, but it's already done. Like you finish doing your pour and pulling your skewer through for your design, and then you set it off to the side, and the next day you come back, you're done. You don't have to resin over the top of that or anything. It's already done. So that's what we're going to do, I think. And then in the top on the lid, I don't know. I think another design, another painting of some sort, but simple. So I'm just painting the bottom to seal it good. I'm just going with a straight dark brown. It won't matter because my resin's going to be colored. The interesting thing though, if you do go ahead and paint brown or whatever color, you could use some clear resin and some with colors. And that way when you pour it in, you'll be able to see down on the clear part, see down wherever that is. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't mix all of the colors in together, it gives it a really cool dimensional look when you do that. So that might happen as well. And I use Pro Marine resin in case anybody's curious. I know everyone's got their favorites, and that one's mine. They do have the Pro Marine tabletop resin. That's what I use for all of my treasure boxes for the most part. But they also have a Pro Marine sealing resin, which is just like a coating resin, like you would put over your canvases. It's a little more plasticky, is the only way I can describe it. And I liked it enough, but there's no sense in buying two different types of resin if one will work for both things, canvases and treasure boxes. So I've landed on the tabletop. Epoxy resin. Decided, not landed on the tabletop. Nope. You realize when you're doing this how big this treasure box is. This is a cool one. It's got, this is the one that has those beautiful little locks to go on the front, which I'm so excited about that. Doesn't take much to make me happy. But it is. It's so pretty. I wish I could show you the hardware for it. There it is. Look. See? That's so pretty. Alright, so it's just your basic, messy wooden box with a little bit of a highlight in the center in case I get some clear and we can mix it up and it'll kind of draw them in, hopefully. We'll see. So there's that. Let me get the other one. The lid. Okay, this is the time it's very important, again, talking to myself, to get the orientation right. So if the box is sitting here, right, and I open it up, then that is going to be the top of my painting, right? So it's just like you paint one way and one the other, upside down-ish. So I'm going to go ahead, let's go ahead and start doing a painting on this one for fun. We'll make it simple, sticking with the fall colors because that's what we do on this treasure box. I'll save my tape. Just making sure. Scary, hard work. It is. Bye, Bluebird. You have a beautiful day. Thanks for stopping in. I swear, you guys. Okay, this is gonna date me big time, but do you remember Romper Room? You know, it was way before Sesame Street, but it was some kid's show called Romper Room. Does anybody? Thank you. Thanks for the likes, you guys. Anyway, on that show, they had some person looking into a mirror and they would call out people's names, and it was always Kathy, Sally, whatever, never Melody. I waited for them to call my name. They never called my name. Anyway, it was just, but that's kind of what it reminds me of when I hear myself say, oh, I see so-and-so, because they would say, oh, I see Tommy and Sally and this, and I guess I was like 6. And I was like, come on, you gotta see me. No, never did they call my name. Those are the random things that my brain does when I am painting. I think of things like that. Is it just me? Or do all artists do that? Just let themselves go into random directions? Hey, Jamie. Welcome. Randall. And I see Randall and Jamie and Shannon and Sherry. That's funny. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know what I'm thinking. Thinking something. Okay, once I get my edges thoroughly darkened and my corners, then I'll start coming out a little bit off of the edge with some lighter brown. And I'm thinking the fawn is a nice color, so I've got it on the bottom, so it'll help kind of tie the bottom of the treasure box to the top of the treasure box, I'm thinking. I'm hoping by continuing to blend this, something will just, you know, pop out at me like, oh, I know what I need to do. So far, nothing. So we're just playing in paint till that does happen. In the morning, you think of the funniest stuff, Jamie. I know, it's like you wake up with your mind on go. That's what Shannon was saying the other day. It's like, Need to find that lid. I dropped it. Okay, I can't. Just blend it a little bit softer. A little bit of water, a little bit of acrylics. Nice soft blend. I'll just go ahead and give the idea of some brownish mountains or trees. I'll just start tapping. That's what I usually do. Tap, tap, tap. It's a different type of tree I've tapped away here. It's not a pine tree. I don't know what it is, but it's gone is what it is. I don't like it. Just working on adding some mountain, just a big glob of brown basically right now. It's gonna be something. I just don't know what yet. I'll put this back in. It's interesting though, I mean, I can see like there could be some water and some trees reflecting. It could be. Never know. Try and make some water. Just very, very quick. Just the idea. Painting loose. I like it. Enough for now to keep going. So let's have something a little like a land mass on this side. Maybe some rock. Let me get my Bob Ross on. Got carried away with the white. No shock, huh? So when you're trying to put in some, I don't know how everybody does it, but this is how I do it. Trying to put in some mountains, I just put a glob of brown or black or whatever basic color I have. And then dampen your brush a little bit and put some white and put it on the edge, just the very edge of your brush, that little tiny edge. And then just run it along straight like it's your water lines. And wherever that big blob is, if you cut it like a third of the way up and then run that line, it will act like water that cuts that thing in half, so you automatically get the shadow at the same time you get your water. You know what I'm saying? So make the blob bigger and then cut it in half with white, and it works for loose painting. Kamska Blue, welcome. Oh, thank you. I like my chilled environment too. Very casual. So you're a painter? I must come check you out. I probably already have, but I don't know for sure. I'm just going back and forth with some other browns. Wow, that is a lot of reflection on this one, maybe too much. Now I'm going to have an issue with what am I going to do with it. That's okay, I'll put something else in front of it. So far I've just used my raw umber and the white on this background to get just the idea of that. I mean, this one is going to be super loose, very simple, because the outside is so detailed. I'm not really worried about it, but I do want them to see something when they open this treasure box up. So they go, ta-da, and then they'll see something like that. Just very basic something. I am going to resin this, but it's going to be a nice thin layer of resin in here. Then I'll just go ahead and do the resin at the bottom of this in a pour style, just for design, because everyone throws stuff in there anyway. They're not going to see the bottom of the box much. So it doesn't really matter what's on the bottom. But I do want it to look nice when they open it up and decide if they want it or not. I want them to love it. So I decided to come up from the bottom here with some more tree trunk, just by tapping at the edge of that brush, making my tree trunks all just kind of going up. And I'm going to use some of the yellow ochre, introduce a new color, just for some of the close-up trees on the bark. Just to touch it with a different color and see what happens. Just by the edge. And I'm going to use some of the yellow ochre and a little bit of white. And I'm just tapping that outer edge where the sun is or moon or whatever's shining. Still don't know what's shining. Let me show you what I got so far. Just adding just a highlight of the yellow ochre and white on the tip of the edge of that brush. I'm going to have to add some tree leaves or something on these tree trunks, but it's coming along. Can't believe I actually went for a scene. I was going to keep it just a pour, but that's okay. Add a little bit more rock over here or something. Maybe some greenery, or just dipping into my yellow ochre, just tapping it anywhere I want. tap it down at the bottom too, why not? Give it a place to end this water at. I think it's easier when you start painting just to tap things in. Don't get carried away making a lot of detail right off the bat. Just tap in some colors where you think this could be a bush or this could be a tree. And worry about the detail later, because honestly, it will show up. You just have to wait for it. You'll start painting and tapping, and the next thing you know, it's like, ooh, that looks like a log or something, and then you can just go with it from there. Add some of that mustard into this, to this shine. I have no idea what time it is. Okay, well, it's a good start. I think we'll stop there. So go ahead, if you guys want to do treasure boxes with me, go ahead and find some, if you can, of these, you know, the drawer kinds. Those are fun. And then if you can find these little book ones that just kind of pop open, those are fun, if you can pop them open like that. They make beautiful gifts. So thank you, Randall. I'm guessing it's Randall. Thank you so much. You spoiled me. I appreciate it. Don't be looking at your watch. Too late, man. Too late. So, okay, so the lid is done. All I have to do is resin that, and hopefully you'll see it resin Thursday. And then the inside, I'm almost finished with that. Talk about loosely painted. It's not gonna get much more detailed than that. It might need a bird or two or three. So that's one tip I want to tell you. If you are painting like seagulls or something like that, it's always better, balance-wise, to have either 1 or 3 or 5 birds, an uneven number, rather than 2. So, or 4. It's just easier to place them. And then also remember, if you're going to do it, if you can pretend to make a tic-tac-toe grid lines, okay, wherever those lines meet, those are optimal places to feature something balance-wise. So you could do tic-tac-toe in your head, of course, like that. And then this would be a great place for a bird or two, and then maybe one over here on this other one. So for balance, it just works out better in odd numbers. So that's just for me anyway. That's what I do, and it works for me. So you do you guys. Thank you so much. Yes, similar to photography, exactly. And thank you so much for coming and being a part of just painting and playing in paint. And you guys have a beautiful day. See you on Thursday, 11:45 Eastern in the morning. And hopefully we'll get this finished. All right, love and light. Randall, thank you for all the gifts. And people, thank you for all the hearts and the likes and the follows. So I'll be coming to your page. Okay. Love and light. Bye.